What did I just do? Hold on, Brad.
Oh my God.
I can't see anything.
Here we go again.
Here we go again. What?
I mean, I don't think
I
this
can't.
proves it all.
I can't see you now.
I know,
Why is that?
because you're pitch black over here. Oh my
Oh,
God. Oh my God.
oh, there he is. There's
Boy,
Bradford.
I'm sweating. I was just I was jamming with Levi down here, just going to town with one of those giant exercise balls.
Yeah. What do you
Doing
mean jamming?
power hip thrust. We just stand there and smash it at each other with our groins.
that's something special, Brad.
The first time I did it, I thought I might have broken my wrist. I went to do it, and it was so forceful that my feet, I was just wearing socks on the carpet, and my feet just went right out from under me, and I just fell straight on my back.
What?
It was pretty epic.
Oh, Jesus. Elliot and I have gotten into doing towel wars, so you whip each other with towels. Dude, he freaking smashes me all the time. Like, he is relentless. Relentless.
What makes that surprise? Like, how does that surprise you at all, Jeremy?
I guess it doesn't, but
He's
crushes
relentless in just talking to you.
he crushes me in that. He is fearless and relentless, and he just pushes forward. I hope
I
one
know,
day he
it's the
uses
same way when I get on the phone. Like, he pushes you out of the way to get on the phone. Whoa, Brad. You've got poop breath.
Well, he calls it like he sees it, man.
Brad. You
Brad,
eat turds. You eat
You're a butt
turds.
cheek. You're a butt cheek, Brad. You're good at butt cheek wobblers. That's what he calls big words.
Well, Jeremy, welcome to this episode 17 of the Briggity Bro Bobs.
Briggity Bro Bobs.
17 episodes.
That's over 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. And we haven't run in over 2 weeks.
Have you not been running still?
No, my calf is still really, really tender. I just don't to go out there and I tried one run. I got like a mile and a quarter in and it just locked up back on me. So I just don't want
truly, the benefit for you is that I've not been running at all while I'm waiting on surgery.
I know. So I'm not losing anything to you. I am losing something to what my expectations were for 10K. But I'm going to try again on Tuesday, although Tuesday's going to be miserable outside.
My surgery is Tuesday.
I know, Brad. Are you excited? Or hesitant?
Excited, nervous.
Yeah?
All of the above.
Do you trust these people? They're not going to lop off your leg and sell it on the black market or anything, are they? Something to concern yourself about. I've read stories where you wake up in an ice bathtub and your kidneys are gone.
Well, I was watching an episode of Justified, if you've ever watched it on FX.
I have not.
And they did an episode on selling human organs. And so they euthanized a guy, or I guess they didn't euthanize him. They chloroformed him, get him to pass out. They cut him open. They leave him in a bathtub, and they're like, "Listen, we've removed your kidneys. You know, like if you don't whatever. I don't know what the hell he had to do. Go rob a bunch of banks or something." But they never really removed anything. They literally just cut him open and told him they took everything.
Huh. That's a way to do
it. Smart.
Double smart. Did they get caught?
Everybody gets caught in Justified.
Well, they're not that smart.
Right. So,
I was thinking, Brad, they have little microphones for to stick into the phone, my phone.
Yeah.
Should I get one? I think my phone does a bad job at everything. So maybe I can help with the sound, at least by getting a little microphone.
Well, let's not forget, when we started this whole thing, you told me, Brad, this is going to be amazing. I've got all of this great podcasting gear from when Elliot and I were podcasting. Yeah. So you're going to see an amazing camera. You're going to see an amazing computer. You're going to see amazing microphones. We've got it all, Brad. Wait until you see. And what happened from week 1 to now week 17? Your phone.
My computer.
And then
is broken.
Every other episode, we get this. Hold on. Where is it? Let me look. I'm recording on the damn phone. I was gonna look it up on my phone, but I'm recording on the damn phone.
Son of a bitch. I mean, I find myself, at a loss every time I have to do a little research. I can't. Maybe I need to get a third or fourth phone. Do that.
Sure.
I can do that.
Why don't you just pull Katie's phone down?
I don't want to use her phone. I want
See,
my
think
own
about
phone.
that. Think about that, Jeremy.
I did think about that, but I don't want to use her phone. I want my own phone.
All right.
I want a phone for podcasting, and then one that I use for my everyday life.
So, do you think you're going to be able to run next week?
Yeah. I've been still like rolling and doing all that stuff. It doesn't hurt nearly as much as it did when it first started. Like when my leg locked up from that stupid workout that I did 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll let you know next week how my run goes on Tuesday. If I have I obviously have to work my way back in, so I have to remember take it slow. The first run could be like 3-4 miles, and that's okay. 3 miles probably, and then see where I go from there. We'll see.
I know I'm legit hoping that I'm going to be able to run in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think,
and that's after taking over 2 weeks off.
Yeah, look. How about this, Brad? I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart. How about we stop with the bet for the 10K, and we pick it back up for the half marathon?
I'll give it consideration, but my gut instinct is no.
Brad, I'm just going to put you're going to be at such a deficit. You're already at 39 seconds.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm going to put a minute on you.
Okay.
And then the half marathon, I'll still be ahead of you fitness-wise because I'm not where you are. So then that's probably another 30 seconds.
Okay.
And then the marathon, you'll probably get me because you're a much better runner than I am. So I think you're mentally tougher than I am.
Well, we'll see.
Kind of weak sauce.
So, did you do your homework from last week?
No, I didn't. Last week was kind of rough.
I can go over this with you. Valencia half marathon, 4 runners under 58, which I'm now driving this extremely slow-moving train of the same thought as Jeremy Clover that things are just going way too fast. Half marathons need to get back to an hour and a half.
I didn't say that, Brad. Didn't say that. I didn't say that there should be no progress.
So let's go over the results here. The top 4 runners, sub 58 minutes.
Yep.
And you had Kibwat Candy, who's already the half marathon world record holder.
Yeah.
So we're under the impression that's okay to run close to your world record.
Yes, of course. You can't go out and run. Regardless, you can never go out. You can't go out and run a PR every single race. It just doesn't happen.
Exactly. Fact.
True. Thank you.
So second place here was Yomif. I'm going to butcher this. Kejelka from Ethiopia.
Okay.
He had a silver in the 10K World Championships, 2 golds in World Indoor Championships.
For what?
10K, 3Ks, silver in the World Road Running Championships in the 5K. He won the World Junior Championships in 2014 in the 5K.
Okay, that's all significantly shorter than a half marathon.
Okay. What's that mean? So this isn't pedigree?
It's not half marathon pedigree.
So you were saying like there has to be a progression. So you don't just start at 12 years old running half marathons.
Some people do.
Well, no.
Yeah, there are 12-year-olds who run half marathons, Brad.
So can we agree at 26 years old, he has some legitimate...
Yes, we can agree to that. 100%. He's legitimate.
And so does it seem unreasonable that he can run sub 58?
Is that his first half marathon?
Ooh, I don't know that. Don't know. It only shows like his major achievements here.
Okay. So if it is, wow.
So this guy ran a 3:47 indoor mile. a world record in the 1 mile
Okay, that's a
in
1 mile.
in
That's not a half
Boston,
marathon.
but it's showing that you have the speed and the
Yeah,
pedigree.
you do. But just because you can, like, we know for a fact that people, like 200-meter runners, can't necessarily go up to the 400.
He won a gold medal in the 5K.
It's still not a half marathon, Brad. But I understand your point, and I don't disagree.
Number 3, Hagos Gebrewet from Ethiopia.
Okay.
A bronze at the Olympics in the 5K.
Okay.
Silver and bronze in the World Championships.
Okay.
Gold medal in the World 5K running. Another just stud here.
And is this his first half marathon?
I don't have their entire resume in front of them.
Why wouldn't you know? Why wouldn't you look for that? That would be a number one clue to me to look for, like their first half marathon. If you're going out there and you're running that fast for your first half marathon, like that's fantastic, but it also raises some flags.
He's a 12:42 5K runner.
Okay, Brad, there's lots of people who are 12:42 5K guys.
There are not.
There are lots.
No, there are not.
I was one of them.
Uh-huh. And number 4, the fourth runner, again from Ethiopia, Selamon Barega.
Okay.
I'm sure I butchered his name as well.
Well,
So
yeah.
if you're listening, I apologize. 2020 gold medal at the Tokyo Olympics for the 10K.
Okay, 10K, different than a mile. I think that's a more regular transition from 10K to half marathon, not
that's
from
like
mile to half marathon, or 5K to half marathon.
Oh, so is it? Would you agree that the best marathoner of all time, Eliud Kipchoge?
He's not anymore. Kelvin Kiptum.
Okay.
Does Kiptum not hold the world record? So that, like, by definition, makes him the best marathoner of all time.
Well, he's not won any Olympics.
Right, we're not talking about like accolades. We're talking about the best marathoner.
So all
of all
you
time.
have to do to be the best
World
is
record.
run it once.
World record. He's run it 3 times, and what? 3 of the top 5 fastest times of all time.
Yep.
I would think that puts him as the best of all time.
I don't agree with you.
Look, longevity, sure. Kipchoge is definitely that.
Kipchoge was running 1500s and 5000s in world championships.
And then look how
so
long
it's obviously transferable to go up.
It is, but look how long it took him to get to where he is. He's now, like, only within the past 3 or 4 years has he been, like, he has been at the top of the game, but only within the past 3 or 4 years has he gotten to the level that now this one guy within.
No, it's been longer than that. When was the original sub 2? That was like 7 years ago.
So what I'm saying is, then this guy comes around and shatters, not just breaks, shatters the world record, like just completely obliterates it. Right?
Again, no human is limited, Jeremy.
False. We are definitely limited.
I don't know.
I mean, look at other world records, though. Like, look at the high jump world record. When was the last time that bad boy was broken?
I don't know.
And you're saying
how's that relevant?
It is relevant. It's a world record based on, like, where we are today. So to think that you don't think that high jumpers
have all
the technology and better training plans than they
had
but
look at this. Look at it from this perspective. So high jumpers predominantly come from what countries? Are they coming from African countries?
So you're saying there's something about being African? That's racist.
You'll get to my point here. So where do they typically come from?
Europe,
United States, South America, Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Russia.
Yeah. Drugs.
All developed nations predominantly. So that they are typically, they're not using high jump as an avenue for their only way to make a living.
So you're saying that because they need to make a living, they have to be exceptional?
So think of do you think that U.S. could produce a world record high jumper if they weren't playing basketball or playing football, making millions of dollars? Like predominantly all of America's best athletes are playing sports that you make millions of dollars, not high jump.
So why? So I don't. So I mean, yes, it's skill. So never mind. I was going to say, why don't these people who are high jumping just go and just dunk on everybody and just make millions of dollars? I know it's got more skill to that than that, but if you
Yeah.
can jump and put your head above the rim, then what's anybody going to be able to do about that?
Well, Mac McClung, who won the slam dunk contest, can't even get in the NBA. He's still playing in the G League. He won the NBA slam dunk contest out of the G League.
I'm surprised that you
So
did, Brad. How we were talking
obviously,
about
jumping is just not the only prerequisite for playing basketball.
boggles the mind, Brad. If you can jump well enough to dunk from the 3-point line, I think you should make it.
So from the 3-point line,
Yeah. Yes. I tell my kids all the time. I was like, "You should have seen me when I was your age. I was dunking from the 3-point line," and they shake their head and walk out my classroom.
Yeah. And then never believe another thing you teach
That's
them.
right. And I lost all credibility. That's okay. I'm all right with it.
So let's quickly go over some running news. Did you see this 12-year-old
Dude.
Scandinavian girl?
Yeah.
Wow.
17. What was it?
17. Are you crazy? She was done for a minute at 17. She ran 16:39, 12 years old.
Oh, I thought, did I see something else about maybe somebody younger run like 17? I don't know. But recently as well. But 16, what was it?
16:39, and it's not even the girls' 5K world record for road running. I think she missed
For
it by
that
12
age?
seconds. Yes.
That is
Crazy.
insane. That's just crazy.
That is an insane
That puts things into
12-year-old.
perspective for sure. I wonder
Oh
if
boy.
she will
Jeremy's stuck.
burn out.
You think she's going to burn out?
And you're stuck. I hope not, but I've seen so there was a girl who lived where I live, who at that age, I mean, she wasn't running 16 anything, but she was running low 18s and into the 17s.
What?
We good?
I'm good.
Brad, are we good? So there was a young girl who was not at that level, but she was still running low 18s, mid 17s at that age, right? Like upper 17s at that age, and then she burned out. Her parents just pushed her and pushed her and pushed her and pushed her, and she lost the love of the sport.
Could happen.
Just stopped running. Really unfortunate. I remember racing against her a couple of times, and always having to look over my shoulder. And she actually beat me a couple of times too, because I was like, this was past college, and this was all that. So
we've got some.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Just insane. 16:39 as a 12-year-old girl is wild. So,
wow. So 8th grade?
Possibly 7th grade.
It's 5 years? 7th grade?
So, year older than Levi, which would be 7th grade.
Wow.
He can really
Levi
hip thrust.
Is he running like mid
ball,
low 17s, 16s?
Yep.
Look, they're bringing back some sports in the Olympics, right? They're introducing some new things. Maybe like
power hip thrusting.
I don't even know what to call that sport. What would you call it, Brad?
So
power hip thrusting.
Knocking them over.
I mean, not only do you get points for getting it past your opponent, perhaps, but knocking them over, but also you get some kind of style points too, depending on how you get it going. Like a combination of kind of soccer.
You're basically just coming up with basketball
and gymnastics.
What was that stupid movie? Basketball. So in the world of professional running here in the U.S., Cooper Tier leaves Bowerman Track Club. We did.
Yeah, another guy. We didn't talk about
we did.
Grant Fisher last time we were talking.
So
no, we didn't. We didn't get to Grant Fisher. No, we didn't.
Two Bowerman
Nope.
track
So
athletes
Grant
here,
Fisher also, the American
relatively
record
short
holder in the
order,
5K.
bailing on the team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's
So I'm not surprised with Cooper Tier. He's had next to
question some
no
stuff
success
going on with that program.
at it. Don't know. I mean, there's speculation. Maybe he goes to
Where
work
is
with
he
Mike
going?
Smith's group,
I don't know.
NAU coach, who's been coaching Caitlin Rupp and a few other professionals. Dathan Ritzenheim.
Well, isn't the who does on Dathan?
I mean, I got to imagine though he's got to end up on a team
they're pretty
that
successful too.
He's under a long-term Nike contract. So, and then we're right in the midst of some pretty amazing college running happening. So, after we talked a bit about the Wisconsin, I can't remember the name of the invite out there. Yeah. So then Caitlin Toohey went out and tore up the ACCs. So I believe she was actually tied with a girl, maybe it was from Duke, going into the last K. And I think she threw down something like a 2:58 last K, which is insane, and just tore it up. And then in Parker Valby, like no one was.
Got something to prove,
I think
man.
she ran with a girl through the halfway mark, maybe somebody from Arkansas, and then ended up just throttling. I think she won damn near by a minute for the SEC championship. I think that's going to be an exciting duel at nationals.
Dude, that'll be some good nationals. I mean, last year was a pretty exciting duel because Parker was leading.
I think the difference was last year, Parker Valby was the unproven commodity. So she truly went out as the way to win it, and you were kind of expecting the whole time, well, Caitlin Toohey is just going to reel her in, reel her in, reel her in. And sure enough, I wasn't expecting to come down to the last 100, but everybody was under the expectation Caitlin Toohey far and away was the favorite to win that. This year, I think you can say the favorite may be Parker Valby. Yep.
Yeah.
And then
I mean it'll be fun to watch for sure. I don't think that Caitlin can let that same, like, the scenario can't play out the same way. Like, if Parker goes out, she's got to go out with her and just be there. I think it's a good way to get into her head too. Like, you kind of just say, hey, you're not going to get away from me. I'm right here.
I mean, I think just from a tactical standpoint, I think it's going to be a super cool race to watch.
You know, what'd be even better is if some random unknown, like ranked like 5th or 6th, comes out of nowhere and just like.
I don't see it happening. They Parker Valby is historically a front runner.
That'd be pretty cool too.
She sets the pace, whether she's going to win or not, in every race that I've seen her run in.
Yeah. Let's get that 11-year-old.
The scary thing is she's not that far off of, like, that 12-year-old is an incredible collegiate runner already.
Oh, yeah. If you're, I mean, it probably doesn't translate so much.
I saw the race that she ran in, and it was a legit course. There were hills.
But she's still. Yeah, I'm not saying about the hills, but like the uneven terrain and stuff, it definitely throws for a little bit. I would say it's still about closer to like 17 minutes, right? So like 20-minute 6K or something like that. But yeah, so I'm not taking it away from her, but like it doesn't completely translate over to like the same time. But
and then
I mean, it would make it interesting. On the men's side,
it looks like Nico Young might get his first national championship this year.
It's just been like, I'm sure it's been weighing heavy. Like, he came in, he's got such.
I mean, he barely got out-kicked last year by Hicks from Stanford.
Expectations of him since he's been in high school.
It was.
I know. Hicks, that was a good race too. And I like.
He's with Bowerman, isn't he?
Just like a grinder.
Pretty sure he's with
goes
Bowerman.
Out there and gets it done. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just have watched him since like he had his own like YouTube channel or something like that. I watched him do that, and that was pretty cool. I love watching those guys like unbox all the shit they get, like all their gear.
Well, I
They
still
get so much
watch
shit. We
like
got like a
the
T-shirt and a
college
pair of shoes, and like
unboxings.
here you go, man.
So I think that's pretty
Yeah,
much it for
that's a ton of fun.
the news here.
You know,
Winter Nationals. So I
Winter
believe
Nationals,
what
Brett.
regionals would be in just, I don't know when. I got to imagine it's 3 weeks.
So would that be when Parker
Yes.
and Caitlin
So
get back
Florida and
together?
North Carolina are in 2 separate regions. So
Gotcha. Cool.
Let's see.
That's unfortunate.
Yes.
So Caitlin, is she a senior this year?
Junior.
And what about Parker? Huh.
Who
So who's
knows?
going
I
to come
mean,
up and
you've got
challenge her next
freshmen that
year?
come
Or
in.
is it just going to be a
I
runaway?
mean, who the hell knows? So November 18th is the D1 National Championships.
Who the hell knows?
Nope. I mean, next week
All right,
starts
so it's
November.
not far away. I mean, it's far enough away.
So a couple of weeks here. So that'll be exciting.
I know. Excited.
So we,
Wednesday.
I wanted to talk about today.
Wednesday.
We threw around a couple ideas on the phone. Your ideas were terrible.
Brad, you told me no idea. If you did, I didn't hear it at all. You said, I'm not going to repeat myself. And I just asked you kindly. I was like, if I heard it, I apologize if I didn't hear it. What did you say?
I feel like I shouldn't have to, but
Are you gonna repeat
for the sake of all the other listeners that weren't on our pre-podcast meeting here. So I personally have been dealing with setback with my knee surgery coming up. I've been going to physical therapy 3 times a week on my piriformis sciatica. Still unclear specifically what it is. Pretty sure it's piriformis, but sciatica issues nonetheless. Kira had a super disappointing race for her this weekend at regionals. She didn't qualify for states. So how, like, what do you do, like, through setbacks, disappointments, as you're training towards something? Because inevitably this happens to everybody. So to think that, like, in the perpetuity of running, that you're never going to have a setback or disappointment is just, it's preposterous.
So it's a good question. I think it depends on how old you are and in what context you're running. So, like, if you're running on a team, that's going to differ than if you're doing the same thing that what you and I are doing, meaning that we're running on our own and coming up with our own plans and not really like kind of going through that. So the younger group, I just say, like, just keep the faith.
So you bring up an
interesting
asking
you to do,
point talking about
get you
ages.
where you need to be.
So like, when you had setbacks in high school, was it more profound or devastating to you than in college?
No, I found that the ones in college were a lot more. I don't know. My like, I'm not making any excuses.
So did you have setbacks and disappointments in high school?
Like, I ran awful. I had a couple of. I did.
Okay.
It was a lot easier for me to overcome because I had a lot more faith in myself as a runner when I was that age. Whereas when I got to college, like, I wasn't in it really to be the best runner I could be. Like, my obligations were elsewhere. So I really never put myself in the position to become any better. So a setback was just another opportunity for me to take a break from running. That was my mentality.
So it was easier in college than in high school.
Yeah, in college. In high school,
okay,
it was because I didn't have any expectations in college. It was so as a runner, it was easier for me.
So
in high school
I look
to
at this,
those things because I was a lot more motivated.
I didn't think of it
them.
specifically from an age context, but what you bring up, like, if I was going to give somebody advice on dealing with setbacks and disappointments specific to running, is that, like, running is just something that you do. It's not who you are. And I think then the younger you are, the more that running is you. Like that is your defining feature. So in high school, I think setbacks, failures, disappointments wear significantly heavier on your shoulders because you know like that like it's what your teachers typically ask about you in class, like, oh, you're a runner, how'd your races go this weekend? It's your entire social life typically in high school. So everybody you surround yourself with only talks about
Yeah.
their running accolades, what's happening on a daily basis. So you don't really have like a significant amount of defining features outside
Yeah.
of running.
Well, and it's also very finite. Like you only get 4 years in high school to run. Like, and if you have to overcome setbacks, every year, that really takes a toll on you as well. Because if you have expectations of yourself and like lofty goals that are reasonable, but you
No,
never
but
attain them,
but that's those
it's finite.
setbacks in college then
Whereas with
become
us, like
seemed a
does
lot
it really
easier to
matter?
me than when I was in high school. So one, I had already achieved some level of success of becoming a Division I runner, being a scholarship athlete. Uh, like that on its own
Yeah.
merit was a pretty significant accomplishment and something that I had geared up for through high school. And then in college, like I started diversifying who I was as a person. That running was a major part of it. Like it was my principal friendship group, et cetera, et cetera. But you see, as you go out on the weekends, inevitably every Saturday we're at some, like we were either at our own running house or we were out meandering around, getting into who knows what antics. And you saw that like running wasn't as important as you felt it was in high school. So running wasn't the principal feature of who I was in college. Like I felt like it was
Right.
just a part of who I was. So it was disappointing in college, but it was way less disappointing than in high school. And then when you get out of high school, like running is just a very minor point of who you are, unless you're a professional runner. So it's something that you.
I mean, it just depends. That was going to be one of my. So we had discussed another topic that I wanted to do, and I remember you did tell me about the topic we're talking about now. I remember now. You refreshed my memory, so thank you. But I'll keep that. I'll keep that to myself for right now. But I think there are people out there who
Well,
would challenge that notion that like it becomes less of a part of who you are. I can think of a handful of people who are
so
not professional
so maybe
runners who
that's the
running does
principal
kind of
caveat of that. You
dominate their
started
lives
running in
still
high
to this day.
school, you run in college, and then you run post collegiately for like whatever records you want to do. So whether it's age group or go win a local 5K or whatever it is, winning those local 5Ks after you run in college really doesn't
Yeah.
seem like much.
No, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, like if we were to go out and race a 5K and I were to win a local 5K, I'd be fucking amped. I'd be like,
I
hell
don't.
yeah, man!
And then
Like
then the
I'm
very
back.
next day you're going to be
I'm
rolling
back.
in
College Jeremy's
to
back.
teach a bunch of kids. So you're going to come home to Elliot,
Yep, that's
who's
right.
going to
And I'll
barely
tell
give
them
a
all, like,
shit
look,
that you won a 5K. He's going to be like, okay, right, okay. And Katie's going to be like,
or he doesn't give
wow,
a shit about
Jeremy, I
that
looked
stuff.
up the
Yeah.
times. Everybody was, you won in 23 minutes.
Hey, but look, she'll probably be all over me
Fact,
because I'm a winner
fact.
now. I have not been a winner in a very long time, so
And how's that working in your home
I'm
life?
aware.
Is
I
she
did beat you
cheering
though,
you everywhere you go
so
around
I'm
the
a
house?
winner to a degree.
There he is. There's Jeremy, the Briggity Bro Bobs 5K
Everywhere. I mean,
champion.
she carries around like she carries around the poster. She's like, "Yeah, Jeremy, the best runner, Briggity Bro Bobs." Everywhere we go, she's
So
got
I
it like
think a
plastered, like
lot of
she's got
those,
it written on her car
like
in the
because we've
paint
had
and all
high
that
school,
stuff.
college, post college, uh, and then like our marathon trainings, etc. You get injured at this point after like all of this history of running. It seems pretty insignificant. You go, oh well, like it's happened before. It's like we're just training for a 10K. It's not that big of a deal. Like you have way more
And
perspective and time under your belt
it is
where
going to happen
running
again.
isn't the defining feature of who you are. Whereas I think if you then graduate from college, you never ran in high school like very seriously, or maybe you ran, like high school cross country and track, but you were kind of like, you weren't really, I don't know, number one on the team or being looked at by schools, etc. Then you don't run in college. You have your normal social life, and then you get out of college, and then it becomes like fanatical. So like I'm running 5-6 marathons a year, and then that's my defining feature of who I am. When I go to work, I talk about that I'm training for a marathon. It's like the cliche of runners. Like, how do you know somebody's training for a marathon? Stick around for a minute and they'll tell you. Like those are all the people that like
They tell you.
I
They'll
don't
tell you.
meet many Division 1 like competitive runners that are bragging about their like just randomly like water cooler talk at work. Hey, did I tell you I just finished the 20 miler. My legs are pretty sore, so I better hit up the water here. Training for a marathon.
But I appreciate those people who come to it later in life who become fanatical about it
I
and just are
I
super consistent.
100% agree. But if
Because
you're
that's
telling
the
those
exact
people
opposite
as
of who
you're
we are,
set
Brad.
back with,
Like,
or you deal with setbacks and injuries, running is not the defining feature of who you are. Like you can still have friends that run. You can still be part of running culture without running. Like there's Briggity Bro Bobs.
we're doing right now. we're, we're, we're talking a running podcast if we haven't run a
Over a month,
step
I bet.
in both of us together in a
I haven't
month if
even
we
wanted
combine
to
our
look at
times
like my
together.
Garmin or
Yeah.
my Stride because like the fitness score has basically precipitously dropped down to 0. I'm
Tanked.
quickly.
It's not 0 yet, Brad, but it's getting
I
there.
know. It's
We'll be back to 1. We'll be
and
back to 1
so
before we
so
know it.
how else do you deal with
On
setbacks
that
and
arbitrary
disappointments,
number.
injuries, etc.?
Uh, Truly, how you deal with it is I get really frustrated. I'm very much like a streaky person when it comes to like my fitness, so I'll get all into it and I'll just start like getting fit, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'll hit this speed bump and I'll have like a downturn. But I
Okay.
just got to remember, like, I've got to do what I've got to do to get back to that good stuff. So, um, only recently I would say that I've been taking the time off that I need to take off instead of like trying to cram running in. So, like, I just take the time off and I just start reading more, or I start hanging out with Elliot more, or whatever it is. I like you said, like, running's
And so
very
what
much
if it was a bigger
much
part
smaller
of your
part of my
life?
life now than it
What
used to be.
about
So I take the
setbacks?
time when I'm not
Yeah,
running.
so setbacks
So,
in
like,
college. I was injured every single year of
what would I
college.
do?
So I looked at it for
Yeah,
setbacks
cross
as
train, man.
like if I'm giving advice to somebody in the way that I handled it, one, keep some perspective. So, like typically you set out like a season long series of goals of what you want to do, whether it's run streaks, whether it's to be on varsity, whether it's to win a race, run a certain time, etc. So, and usually you've done something in contributing towards the goals that you want. And so maybe the big goal that you want, like Kira qualifying for state, that
Yeah,
didn't happen, but you ran PRs. Like you ran a significant PR over the year. You ran faster on each respective course that you did. You improved your positioning in each respective race that you did. And so if you had a list of 7 goals, you had 6 goals that you accomplished. And so now how are you going to, like you should be
right.
able to spin it. It's difficult without having some time perspective, whether it's, like a few days to kind of like just be pissed about the races or what's happened. Like you need some level of perspective. And then, if you flipped it on its head and you
Yeah,
did accomplish all your goals, you know what this is like. You reach your goal, you run a PR and you think, I'm in the best fitness of my life. Like I knew that was a stretch goal to run this PR, get to this race healthy. Now I want to capitalize on it. Like I'm running the best that I've ever run. I want to start capitalizing on it. I want to go out for a 2-hour run tomorrow. I want to just keep building on this fitness. But fitness, like those things don't work that way. So whether you met that goal at the end of the year or you come up short,
Nope.
like you do the same process. You take your 2 weeks off, you do your recovery time, do all your rehabilitation that you need, and then you come back under the same way. So you're not going to feel good coming back after 2 weeks of not running.
Yeah. Now, and you come back and you reevaluate what like the next set of goals,
Yep.
right? So like, I mean, because every season or every race is a different set of goals. If you're, in high school or college and you get done with cross country season and you have indoor, obviously you're not running a 5K cross country race. In high school, you're not running a 5K again. You're running the 3200 or the 1600 or whatever it may be. And you look at that and you say, okay, how am I going to get to, like, let's set these goals now. I think if you don't have goals, which is fine, but I think if you are competitive and you go out to like do actual races instead of just running, I know people who just go out to run. But if you're
Work
racing,
towards,
like you
yep.
set yourself goals so that you have something to like aim toward, especially for especially for people
And
who are
so
goal oriented.
with this person,
Which I find
with
that I
this
am.
setback, so I've
I
got
can't just go out
surgery
there and do something for
Tuesday.
nothing.
I'll probably be starting rehab or physical therapy. I think it's either 2 or 3 days after. And so when I get back, I'm putting like a major
Okay.
goal in front of me is if you and I in I'm sitting here talking to you, Jeremy.
You froze, Bradford. Brad. I lost you. There, you're back.
I'm putting in
So you're putting
a
after you
goal
come
that
back, you're putting a major
if I'm going to
goal.
train the way that I want to train, like I just have to be stronger. So like the physical therapy that I'm doing now with my sciatica needs to continue. That's not something that I can afford to drop off. I need to be able to spend like more time on single leg exercises
Nope.
to build up strength so that I'm able to absorb the training that I want to do, that I'm able to like actually finish an entire training cycle healthy and strong instead of going into it with the wheels, like barely hanging on. And if you make it through the marathon, it ends up being, like a double bonus. And then you need 3 months off instead of the 2 weeks because you're just absolutely humiliated and crushed by your marathon performance.
Or 2 years. Yeah, I think that's where we are though, Brad. We always like seem to find ourselves like crushed at the end of our major races, and then just need a mental and physical break from it. And that 2 week break turns into 2 months, which turns into a year, and then 2 years, and then we're like, well,
I
shit,
mean, running,
we're back to
we're at a
zero
different part
again.
in our lives. So, like injuries in college, I had similar injuries from being diagnosed with exercise induced asthma, where I ended up in a hospital after one of our training runs, to breaking my ankle my senior year, bedridden with back spasms for a couple of weeks my freshman year. I don't remember what happened my sophomore year. Oh, partial Achilles tear. So every year had like significant injuries where then I use it for just a quick, like whatever mental break that I
Yep.
needed, like to, like that I was forced to recover. And then I did cross training, focus on weight room, and just came back, like with some sense of urgency to accomplish some level of goals for that respective year and then build on the next year.
Yeah. See, I never came into cross country or track in college with any specific goals. Truly didn't want to be there. But my senior year, I was like, I can't go out running slower than when I came in. And that ended up being my ultimate goal, was to not be slower than when I came into college. So my senior year, I really, not in cross country. Cross country, I could give a shit. I really did not like cross country. But track, I was like, look, I can't do that. So track, like my senior year was actually quite successful. And that just kept me motivated. A really strong end of the indoor season led to a pretty good, I would say, outdoor season. I mean, it wasn't as successful as indoor was, but it wasn't not successful. So, I was pretty pleased with that. But everything leading up to that was kind of just a shit show, to be honest. Like it was the first time I'd ever that was the first time I'd ever gone away from my family. Like you know the stories. I didn't know that there were other restaurants out there called Bennigan's. Like I just didn't know anything. Like I lived in a very a big city but very small city life in that big city, and I went out on my own, and that happened to be more of a prerogative than anything else was
So,
in my
what
in that
advice,
time period.
you
So
deal with high school athletes, what
that's where I
advice would
was.
you give high school athletes that are dealing with setbacks and disappointments?
Well, okay, so setback disappointment being like their goal time wasn't met, I just tell them to, just trust the process and trust themselves. And usually
Or
I
they
tell
think
them
that
a lot of my
progress
kids
is
just are
just
very, they,
100%
they
linear.
overthink themselves.
So,
I tell
which
them to get That's exactly right. And I'm like, you can't PR every race. I said that earlier today. You can't PR every race. I'm sorry. Like we can work toward an ultimate PR, but for you to expect that you're going to go out there and drop 4 seconds every time you run the 1600, it's not reasonable. Like you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have to go out there and practice a little bit, or not practice, but like change up your racing strategy depending on who you're racing against. You might have gone out this one too fast, and that's okay. We learned. I just take everything as a learning opportunity. If it's like a race where you don't do as well as you had hoped, if it's an injury type thing, then obviously they need to make sure they're doing what they need to do in order to get better. Like they go see the trainer before practice every day, listen to what she has to say. If they say that it's no go on running, but you can go into the weight room and get on the bike or whatever it may be, then I tell them to go ahead and do that, and I give the trainer the workout we're doing so she can make something comparable as far as like intervals and whatnot. Our trainer is fantastic. So we just kind of do that. So it just really depends on what setback we're dealing with. And my kids, shin splints tend to be the biggest setback, and I just tell them to get over it. So, I mean, it's true that I can't run. I've got shin splints. I'm like, what do you mean you can't run? Go out there and run. Just run. So, what about you,
grieve,
Brad? What
like
would you?
give
What
yourself
advice
an
would you give
opportunity, just be
folks?
upset at what happens. Then allow yourself to have some perspective once you're
Yeah,
done through the grieving process. Look back and actually write down and understand like what you did achieve. And even if that achievement for that year is that you just made it another year of training. So I see I see a lot of high school kids or even college kids,
yeah,
whether their freshman year is good and their sophomore year is bad and their junior year is a recovery and their senior year is really good. Like running is a participation award, in the fact that the more you participate and the more consecutive years you have training, even if you think like that you're not making progress because you're not having PRs, every year that you're healthy in training is a huge like investment into your total fitness. And at some point, like it's going to align itself. So, like we just talked about, fitness isn't linear. Like it's completely
yeah,
unreasonable to think. I think it's even unreasonable to think that every year you're going to get better. So, whether, like, I think that's the understood
yeah.
impression for high school runners is that, well, I'm a sophomore, I'm a year older, I should be better. And logically, it probably makes sense because you're a year older, you're getting stronger.
I think, I think for,
Yeah.
I think for boys that's more true than it is for girls. Yeah, just because girls going through their physical changes, like definitely like can sometimes hinder their ability to run fast, and they just put on weight differently and they do things that like just part of the process. And guys generally, boys, they become men and they get stronger, so
But
inherently if you're
I've seen
stronger you
plenty
should
of
be able to run
runners.
faster.
There's
But
a
like you
local
said, if
runner
you get
here,
injured or it
really
doesn't
good,
work.
just signed with Alabama. So obviously a legit national runner. Uh Went his freshman year, like had a
Yeah,
strong freshman year. I think he ran 4:32 or something. Like a good freshman year, like nothing out of this world. Sophomore year,
it's good.
makes his big
Yeah,
jump, like goes down into the teens, starts running pretty consistently sub 16, qualifies for everything that he wanted from cross country, track, every event, indoor, outdoor, for the state championships, makes all state. Junior year, doesn't, like in track, doesn't qualify for state. Doesn't even come close. Senior year, comes back, starts doing well again, and signs with Alabama. Like this is in particular, like the more you're kind of
Yeah.
moving up in progress and getting better and better, like making leaps and bounds improvements just doesn't happen. And sometimes you end up going backwards or perceived backwards, and that's just part of the process. So
And I think you have to be like mentally strong in order to understand that and be okay with it. Like I've got a couple athletes who are like I said, there I have like 3 or 4 kids who are just so far in their own heads that they talk themselves out of like any kind of good performance. Sometimes the best performance comes from not thinking about anything at all and just going out there and competing. And they just amp themselves up before the race even begins. Like I'm gonna go run with him, and I'm just gonna like if he goes out in 62, I mean it might be too fast. I'm like you don't even like you've already talked about something that hasn't even happened yet.
well,
Like
I
you've
do
already put
think
yourself in
running
the
with
hole and you haven't even
expectations
started.
becomes
Like
very,
I
very
don't know.
difficult.
It's just
So and if you look at like even this kid locally that ran well
yeah.
freshman years, no expectations, and then you run just well enough to be good, but nobody's expecting you to be like an all-state performer the next year. The next year you become an all-state performer, and then your junior year, which was his
Yeah.
like leveling off, or I'm not even sure that he really went backwards, but he doesn't qualify for state in the 3200, doesn't even come close. But his expectation was, well, like that's my place to be, and nothing is given to you. Like you don't own the right to go anywhere, and when you run like it's your right to be there, I saw it with myself. I see it with high school athletes. I see it with just about anybody. If your expectation is, well, that's mine, I did the work, I deserve it, then as soon as you're out of place, like it becomes very, very difficult to run because then you just start living inside of your head and you start saying, well, like in the middle of the race, you think, well, this is slipping away from me. That slipping away starts putting tension across, like starts in your shoulders. You have it mentally. You become fixated on that all of this, what's supposed to be mine, is taken away from me. And like when you feel like something is taken away from you, like
Yeah.
like there's no other reaction but to tense up. And
And you feel aggrieved and you get pissed off. And some people they'll
not,
like I run better when I'm pissed off. Maybe sometimes, but not if you're pissed off
yeah,
at yourself or at the people who are in front. Like that's the wrong kind of pissed off, right? If you go out, like it's just the wrong kind. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like my like I coach at a private school and like our expectations are quite low as far as even going to the state meet. Like, so just to give you some kind of comparison here. My
oh,
boys, in
wow.
order to qualify
Okay.
for the mile for the state meet, have to run 4:53.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
very
all
like the
relative.
stakes are super low. But to be honest, I only have one kid who can be. It is. I only have one kid who can do that, and he's becoming quite the runner. Um, but his expectations are already like through the roof. He's already thinking like he ran 4:48 last year, which is a
The
good
people
improvement.
that
He ran from
run well
4:55 to
angry
4:48.
or like
Um,
determined are typically the ones with that are running angry with nothing to lose.
oh yeah, but the people who get pissed off because they're like somebody's in front of them that shouldn't be, that they've already
Yeah,
lost because that
I
is
mean, I
theirs.
keep coming back to like when
Like
you
they
feel
lost
like it's
it, right?
yours and you've
So
done the work, you're entitled to get it, and then you are fall out of place. Your typical headspace then starts like it just becomes absolute panic, and that it's all being taken from me in this moment. Everything starts moving
yep,
backwards, and then you can spend half the race in the mental headspace of like how you're going to react when this is over after you haven't accomplished your goal. So you spend as much time focusing on, even in the middle of a race, what you're going to do when
yeah,
this is over and like how upset I'm going to be. And you're not even now focusing on the race. You're focusing on what's going to happen after the race and how upset you're going to be, how you're going to
nope,
react, what it's going to be like on the bus ride home. What are people going to think of me? Like it,
yeah, and we lose perspective too that like you're working
100%.
extra hard to get to where you are, but the people who are around you are working just as hard. And and any given day, it could be their day and maybe just not yours. And it doesn't mean that like they took your spot. Like we all know that there are some days you go out there and run and everything works. And you just run and you can run fast and you never feel pain. And it's just like, it's just a wonderful run. And then there are some days you go out there and
Well,
everything
that
feels like a
I think,
job.
you know,
Like
like
every
that's a good
step
point. We
just is
talked
like,
about
Jesus Christ,
at
this sucks.
some
This
point
sucks.
along
This
this
sucks. This sucks.
17 episode journey of the Briggity Bro Bobs that don't judge, like, the runner who you are
That's right.
isn't your worst day. Like, don't make your worst day that your fitness has just gone completely backwards. And the same is true and applicable to racing. Like, one bad race, even if it's your last race of the year, like, that is not who you are as a runner when you've had better races throughout the year. So,
And so if you get hurt, people out there, you get hurt, do the stuff that you can do while you're hurt, meaning doing the stuff that you should be doing anyway, making sure you're stretching, making sure you're doing your strength training, doing all the extra stuff, making sure you're eating okay and staying hydrated. That way, when it's time for you to get back to it, that stuff is already there. That stuff is already taken care of. Don't forget about that. But then you can really concentrate on the stuff that gets you back out the door and out on the road or out on the trails or whatever, too. So like that's just one thing to keep a perspective on is that just because you can't run doesn't mean you can't gain
maybe
fitness.
we
It's
should
just a
heat
little bit
some of
different
this as we're
fitness.
both sitting around eating.
Yeah. Eating ice cream.
I
I had a
literally, so I was
pint of ice
just
cream
sweating from
right
playing
before
this
this.
stupid hip thrust game with the exercise ball, and then I was like, man, I'm gonna go upstairs. So I go upstairs, I walk past
Yeah.
a can of ginger ale, I take a swig of ginger ale, and then up in my book bag I had, for some reason they're already selling Christmas candy. So, and they've got the peanut butter cup
Yeah.
Christmas trees, which is like, it's such a good ratio of peanut butter to chocolate. Like,
Those are
it's
delightful.
way better than an actual like peanut butter cup.
Yeah, it is.
The pumpkins, the eggs,
Yeah,
like
I
each of
think,
those
and even the
specialty
pumpkins,
ones,
like the
the ratio of
for
peanut butter
Halloween.
to chocolate is way better than a peanut butter cup. So, right, and
Yeah,
so I have a
but I'm
bunch of
not
those
gonna
in my
ever not
bag, and I
say
was
no.
like,
I'm
oh,
never gonna say no
a
to a
little
peanut butter cup
Briggity
either.
Bro Bob fuel, throw in a Christmas tree peanut butter cup, and let's go.
Oh Jesus, Brad. Yeah, so we could do better. So I went to the store. I realized that we were out of bread for Elliot sandwiches and lunch for the week. So I went to the store right before this, like at 6:45 or so, and then I saw Christmas tree cakes, and
Why?
those things are
Why?
so
Oh,
good.
well,
But guess what? I didn't get,
I wouldn't
Brad.
say that's any
I didn't
better.
get them. I got ice cream instead because I got ice cream. It's definitely not better because
So,
I ate it all at once, a whole pint. It was delicious.
so if we were going to
It was
summarize this whole
Mexican
thing,
hot chocolate flavored. It was
one,
good.
give yourself an opportunity to grieve. 2, look back and
Grieving's
understand some
important.
level of like what you accomplished through the year. So, like when we've had injuries in this running journey,
Yeah.
your fingers look creepy. When we've had like we're not running as fast as we want during this, I think periodically we've reminded each other, well, listen, like this is still all steps in the correct direction for where we want to go. So, like, you don't get to control the pace of what's happening. It's just
Yep.
going to happen at its own accord.
And I've also been a lot more cognizant to let myself actually recover. Whereas if it was 5 years ago with my Achilles issue or my calf issue, I would have been out trying to get my runs in, putting myself in a bigger hole and just being pissed off the entire time because it hurt.
And number
it wasn't
3,
working the way
trust
it
the
should be
process.
working.
That
So
even if you're not hitting the PRs or the times that you were expecting for the year or the training paces that you were looking to do, you're still making progress. Like, there's no way that all that training just goes to waste because you didn't PR. So, and this is all a part of the process and all a part of the journey of getting to where you want to be.
Right.
And then, so that was 3. Number 4,
Yep.
I think you still get to control pieces when you're either disappointed, injured, or whatever the case may be. There's still things you can do. So if you and I had any sense of intellect through this or self-discipline,
Yep.
we could say, all right, well, we're not running, but we're going to maintain like a really good diet. I'm not going to put on 15 pounds over the next 2 weeks eating pints of ice cream. I'm going to stay disciplined. I'm going to do all of the rehab that I need, the physical therapy. I'm going to make sure that when I come back, I'm stronger. You and I think have resigned ourselves to we're just coming back fatter. Like we're starting back at square one, and that's it.
That's right. Look, I just want to I want to be
Don't
there with
blame
you. I
me,
want us to be
Jeremy.
like in this together.
Don't
So
blame
if we're
me.
gonna stay fat, then stay fat. I'm blaming you, man. We're doing this
You're the
all for
only
you.
person
I ate that
around
ice cream
cheering
for
on
you,
my
man.
injury. Like, Jesus, I hope Brad's recovery is 4 weeks because I could use another 4 weeks of doing nothing.
Yes. How did you know, Brad? How did you know? You mean it's a bigger surgery? They had to amputate? Oh man, that's unfortunate.
Yep.
I guess
All right,
I gotta
well,
get
let's do
myself
it. I think this was a good one,
right.
Jeremy.
Let's grieve together, Bradford. Yeah, it was good.
Don't
Hey, guess
do
what,
your
Brad?
eyebrows at me. Like, why
I
wouldn't
love
you
you.
just lick your lips? I mean, geez. Hey, Brad, you know what? Jeremy.
Yeah, man.
Love you, bud. See you next week.
Woo! All right, buddy. Later.